Hi everybody. Hi. I've had a stressful fucking day trying to make this video. I'm Marble Girl, also known as HAYLEYYSPARXX, vocalist of Thotcrime. This making sure you have to check your beanie to make sure your hair looks just right, just edgy and alternative enough. And yeah, so I wanted to start vlogging, making little vlog videos, because well, I don't know, I've been making vlogs for like a little bit now, and you know, I just mostly just talking about music that I like, or music that is cool that I really like. And you know, these ones I think are going to be a bit longer. They're going to be a bit more unfiltered. Because my other videos were very like, haha, edit tricks, blah, 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 blah. But I kind of like talking and like doing a stream of conscious, like just at people. And so yeah, there's going to be less umming as it goes on, just because, you know, figuring out what I want to say. But hi, I'm Haley, and yeah, this is my first real vlog, coming to you live from my bedroom. So I wanted to like talk about the music that came out this year, what I liked, never really what I didn't like, just because I don't really think there's a point in like talking about music that you don't like, or talking about anything that you don't like, really. I feel like, you know, you can just talk about things that you do like, and people will like gather towards that, rather than like talking about something that you hate. And so yeah, oh my god, I don't have the okay. So, today, so starting off, I guess I'm just gonna talk about a couple albums that really piqued my interest, that made me really happy. So let's start with the new Porter Robinson record, yeah. Love me some Porter Robinson, but, really, I kinda, so going back in time, back in like the old age of 2012, little baby Haley had a tiny little EDM phase, and I'd always heard about Porter Robinson's work, and I was really into Skrillex at the time, and so when I went to go listen to his music, I was like, this isn't Skrillex. And so I just abandoned it. I never came back to it. And then, you know, here we are 10 something years later, and I'm like looking at it again and thinking about this record, and I like need to let you know how important this record is to me. It's so beautiful. It truly captures the essence of like what, like, how you can become happy after a long time of just not being happy. I think this artist, when I think about what he was doing with it, he really put his like heart and soul into this record. When I describe it to people, I describe it as like Ghibli music. Like it's like, it like not like literal like Studio Ghibli music, even though it kind of has that, like, it kind of has that flair to it. I really think his music kind of like captures that like pure like childlike essence of like a lot of early Ghibli movies, and then puts it in the context of like, this is a sick rave for like weebs, and I love that. And I think also, besides the aesthetic choices of this record, I think it really shows a deep love for the people that, you know, he cares about. And I think that that's awesome. I think loving things is cool, especially loving your wife or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your partner or whatever. And this album really feels like a love letter to just love, the concept of love. And I love that. I think that that's awesome. And so, yeah, it's probably at the top of my list. Next, on the opposite end of the spectrum, I guess there's like a feeling of love, deep love in it too, but it's kind of like just ground up inside of this like tinfoil cage of chaos. Is the new Black Dresses record, Forever in Your Heart. I love this record. This is another record that it's just like top Haley core. This is like peak, like, oh my god, holy crap, wow, they really did it. When the band broke up, I was in tears. I was shambles. They didn't actually like break up because, you know, they're like a thing, but like it was so sad and it was so like upsetting because, you know, their music really resonates with me personally, and as I feel like a lot of people, it really does. And so hearing this new album and how ferocious and how like it is, it's like this like screaming, running like thing, writhing thing that also desperately is calling out for some kind of like passionate love and change, and it's beautiful and it's ugly and it's everything all at the same time. And I just love this record so goddamn much. I have physicals of both of these records, by the way, and they're both phenomenal physicals. I'm so glad that I was able to get them. As far as like, I can keep going on about both of those records specifically, but you know, there were a ton of other releases that I want to get to too. You know, there was the new Pupil Slicer record. Katie's a longtime friend, really awesome, very good guitar player. Their whole project is sick, very violent, very like cathartic, very and I thought it was very like weird how it hit everything as far as like every metal thing, but like I feel like it should have been talked about more as far as like mainstream like music outlets, just because it really, I feel like it has the same level of relevancy as like the first couple of like Converge records, maybe like early Dillinger. I think they've really like changed mathcore in certain ways, alongside their peers like the Callistyle Boys and who else? The Sound That Ends Creation. I could keep going. I'm not super duper into mathcore, but this record was awesome. As far as like other heavy records, everything that's like Sissy XO has put out, Jisei, that record too, anything that Lita has worked on, Lita Page, it's a talented vocalist. It's doing a lot of things right now, and definitely probably one of the most prolific vocalists, I think, at the moment. Just the level of like features and like projects it has going on right now, while just on top of it just ruling ass so hard. Like, love it. And I think probably Bad Representation was probably up there for one of my favorite albums this year. Pretty solid. Life is Pain, so good, so good, so good. More cybergrind. There was a lot of cybergrind releases this year that were really solid, but I think Life is Pain probably at the top. Zassy by Nobby, Catface. I'm gonna call them Nobby Catface just because that's what it is, and it's awesome. I love that. I love that record too. I think both kind of like take their own spins on cybergrind in a very neat way, whereas like Blind Equation is like doing this like Life is Pain by Blind Equation is doing this like black metal Nintendo core thing. Nabi is doing like this hyper pop like trappy kind of like SoundCloud rap, young lean Drain Gang, like Blady, more Blady if anything. And yes, I know it's Blade, but I'm calling him Blady just because it's funny. It's like, honestly, I like what both of them are doing. I can probably talk about a couple more like Cybergrind projects, but realistically, I think those two are at the top of my list alongside both the Sissy EXO, These Are Our Live Sets LPs. Those are solid. Coming from like, you know, like just from a pop standpoint, there's been so much that's been released this year, but I think on an independent level, that's like, you know, outside of everything, but still somehow in there. Honestly, every single that Diana Starshine has worked on, and Galen Tipton as well, both Recovery Girl records that have released, I kind of like Recovery Girl and Friends more, but you know, Pop 3 was awesome. It's Diana's homage to Charlie XCX. Is it homage or homage? I don't know. But I think she handles, like, I think she handled that record really well. There's just so many good features. There's so many good producers. A bunch of them are my friends on this. And I even did like a thing on there too. It's just so solid. It's so good. It feels good all the way through. All of these like reimaginings of Charlie XCX songs are incredible. I think probably one of my favorite ones is the Claws remix that, or not remix rather, but the Claws cover that Diana did with my friend Ari Laloya. Very cool, very awesome, very like, I think that producer really, they like just anytime they touch on like even like my band Thotcrime's remixes, it always has this very warm kind of like celestial kind of feeling, and I love hearing that. And I think with that applied to the Claws cover, it sounds great, it sounds cool. It's like such a weird, like, not weird rather, but like not I don't know, like not standard way of like reimagining that song specifically, because it's so like in your face and loud, and this one is like very like reserved, I feel like, but also at the same time bubbly, and I think it sounds awesome. Going over to Recovery Girl and Friends was a really solid summer album. Really solid collaborative like pieces on here. The singles leading up to it were great. The art is so cool. The shirts were awesome. I think that was really handled well. Galen did a really good job of just like handling, like she handled the whole production of like the project going together well, getting some really solid features from like Umru and like Girlfriend of the Year, Mariko, Tyler Lee Jones, who also put out a really solid EP that I talked about in another video earlier this year. Super good, super solid, very good. Going over to just another really cool thing that came out this year too, that well, my roommate Vera, also known as Gorpo Pap, has released some EPs this year. Alive in URL was really awesome. My record label did a tape, did like a tape for that one. It was really solid. It was a really interesting, like there's like a video component to it. It sounds really cool. Definitely check that out. She also was like involved with this huge Desk Pop Records like companion, like not, well, that wasn't a companion rather, but it was like this huge collaborative, like, what's the word? When you have a whole bunch of songs, compilation. Yeah, and that was pretty solid too. Who else? There's so much. I think one that I really want to talk about the most was the new Zovi record. Longtime producer of like just heavy hardcore, out of the ordinary, but still constantly going between different genres. This was artist, very eclectic, This was a digital hardcore record that was really solid all the way through. I think my favorite thing about this project probably is how passionate she is about her plushies and her stuffed animals. I think it's awesome. I think it's sick. I think it's so cool. And I there's like this kind of like magic to it that I feel like you can't really get with a lot of other records, but with what Zovia was doing on it, it sounds great, it's fun, it's good. I also recommend checking out The True Triangle. That was one that I didn't get to this year, but I'm going to get to it eventually. And yeah, what else? Okay, I'm like trying not to do this like like a Fantano Why You Know review or whatever, just because I bet it kind of is probably coming off like that, but I really don't want it to, just because, you know, whatever, I'm not gonna worry about it. But who else, like, there was so much that, I keep saying there was so much that came out this year, but there really was. I think, like, the past year, like, everybody, while they were in, like, you know, in pandemic mode, and even still, like, into the beginning of this year, like, you know, we're just like, let's put out everything, and it was so good. I have a ton of Bandcamp stuff that released out this year that, like, was pretty solid. There was an Eva Boy record that was really cool. Eva Boy record. This breakcore project, Joyless, I can throw that in there. Yam Lin. Yam is an incredible 3D artist who also does a lot of really cool, like, different genres. Like, she's done some ambient, she's done some jungle. Pretty solid stuff. I might go into a Bandcamp vlog later on, just because this is all stuff that can be available on Spotify, but I'd like to eventually, you know, just talk about all the stuff that I've seen on Bandcamp, because it's pretty cool. What else? New Backwash was awesome. Another one of those records where it just feels very angry and it feels cathartic, and there are tons and tons of cool features on this one. Ada Rook from Black Dresses produced it. Solid all the way through. I Lie Here Buried with My Rings and Dresses. So solid. The title track's awesome. The track with censored dialogue is super cool. That artist is super rad. I definitely recommend checking out their stuff. Who else? I don't want this to, like, go on too long, because eventually, you know, I do want to talk about Thotcrime stuff. Let's do it. So, I guess those are all my recommendations for this year. I'm gonna put a link of, like, you know, singles, albums, stuff that I just liked, and you can follow, you can just, you know, check that out. It'll be a public playlist. Yeah, so Thotcrime stuff. Yeah, as far as that, so I'm really excited for the next album, the Headgore album, because it is an album. It was a split, but it's not an EP. It has the length of an album. It's a split album. I kind of think of it kind of like the Poacher Diaries with, like, Agoraphobic Nosebleed and Converge. Like, it's a full album. It's a full length. And I think it's, like, weird that people have been thinking of it like an EP. Like, the split EP we did with, like, P.S. You're Dead. Now, that's, like, a split EP, but, like, I don't know. Which also, both were super fun, but I'm really excited about the new direction that we're heading in. I'm really excited about, you know, what else? Like, just the sounds that are coming out of it. Kez is doing an incredible job. Dot's been an incredible drummer. Melody's just been writing everything. It's so good. It's gonna sound so awesome. I'm really excited for everybody to hear it. What else? I dropped an album. That was really cool. Me personally, I think you should check it out. It's taken me a while, but it's called 1 Year of Hating Myself. That's on Bandcamp right now, eventually on streaming. Once I get a Patreon together, I feel like I did set up a Patreon, but, like, I don't know. I'll get back to it eventually. It's, like, up right now, but, you know, once we get there, yeah, it'll all come together. But The new Thotcrime record is gonna be awesome. Please go check out the Headgore record. That band is so phenomenal. They're so cool. They're so rough and like nasty sounding, and everything that they put out is so good. I think probably they have some of my favorite, like, I have to look it up, but like it's like some of my favorite track titles because that I've ever done with another band that I've ever. This is like my first, like, second ever split that I've ever done, so pardon me, but Headgore. It's like Never Trust a Cat Girl with a Knife or something like that. It's solid. It's good. I'm sorry, Irene, if you're watching this, I'm sorry that I butchered the song name, but I do that with everything. I can't remember. I couldn't even remember, like, my own birthday if it wasn't so easy to remember. Anyway, yeah, so, I want to say thank you for everybody who watched. I know this is like 20 minutes. I'm going to try keeping these to like a little bit shorter in the future. As far as what else I'm doing, I want to try streaming, so check out the Marble Girl stream. Just occasionally, you know, I'll be like making video, like posting DJ sets. I have a couple that I've done on SoundCloud. I'm gonna be posting those at some point. Yeah, awesome. Thank you. I love you. You're the best. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.